Hello, I am Kenneth Kelty, your host of Exceeding Expectations with Kenneth Kelty. I am a person with autism, intellectual, and developmental disabilities. I am an award-winning motivational speaker and activist. In my work, I advocate for self-determination by sharing my life with disabilities.
Here today, we have the pleasure of hearing from my friend Kayla McKeon, one of the first registered female lobbyists with Down syndrome, and we are both recipients of the Laura Lee Self-Advocate Leadership Award and met 10 years next in November of 2027. Kayla, you can introduce yourself, huh?
Sure, thank you, Ken. So my name is Kayla McKeon, and I live in Syracuse, New York, and I am the manager of public policy at the National Down Syndrome Society. And thank you so much for having me, Kenneth. And this is a great honor.
Thank you, and I'm honored. I'm honored to have you on my podcast. One of the first questions to kick off will be first time you spoke up about your goals and self-advocacy.
Sure. So the first time that I spoke up, and I was pretty young, not too young, but my first speaking engagement was through Special Olympics, and what it meant for me, as well as my confidence. This is when I started going into schools and motivating students to do their best, to persevere through life challenges, and of course, life itself. I guess that's when I started going into elementary, middle, and high school. But honestly, my favorite was the School of Nursing, to be able to talk about Down syndrome and how it never holds us back.
Thank you, and yes, you are definitely a great advocate every day. Now, how did you handle presumed negativity when going into the world?
Sure. So, with me having Down syndrome, it does take me a little bit longer to process information, but I'm definitely a hands-on learner. And I know neither of those things are bad. It's never easy to be different either. Because when I first started out in school, I wasn't mainstreamed into regular classrooms right away. I did have a teacher's aide to help me, and that was very helpful. I also had help from the resource center, but at that point, I really needed that help. But it got me to where I currently am today.
Thank you, and you're definitely doing amazing work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now talk about your experiences with higher education. Yeah?
Sure, absolutely. So I attended Onondaga Community College, and I took one course per semester and for credit. But I can say that wasn't exactly easy either. Because fortunately, at that point in life, I learned what I needed in the classroom to help me become successful. Yes, I did have mentors in the classes. They would help me with notes and study, and came up with the tools to help me throughout college. Then 12 years later, I graduated college with my associate's degree in general studies. And not to brag, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention back in 2024 that I was the youngest recipient to receive an honorary doctorate degree in humane letters. And I felt that I was very humbled to receive such a great honor. And I felt so fortunate that I was able to access college. And honestly, I cannot think of a single negative experience. But that is all due to being mainstreamed throughout my life and advocating for services and supports that I absolutely needed.
Thank you for sharing that. It's always great seeing people with disabilities who are exceeding beyond expectations that were never thought about. And congratulations to receiving an honorary Doctor of Letters, as we are the ones that are doing all of the exciting work. Now, how did you choose to get involved in disability policy?
So I started off in policy when I was a local intern for my local congressman, John Caco. And I interned him for 2 years and gained so much experience and did a variety of office work. But my job at that point wasn't specific to disability policy, but it did teach me the basics and overall to help me set up for my success. So one year, some of my friends and I decided to head down from New York to Washington, D.C., and this was with John Caco as well. And to attend, and I didn't realize it was with NDSS. It was a conference held in DC, and it was an advocacy conference, and that was super. And this is when I got involved in disability policy. The NDSS CEO and staff, I believed, were so impressed with my ability to advocate, my tenacity, and they took me under the wing. So a year or so later, I was up to date with all of NDSS's policy priorities and was ready to head to Capitol Hill as the first registered lobbyist with Down syndrome. So definitely a very exciting process.
Thank you, and it's been great in the fall. It's been great in the fall. You're soaring. And I'm glad you've gotten great recognition. Now, expanding more on what you talked about, what was the path like becoming the first registered lobbyist with Down syndrome?
Sure. So I always say that I feel like one of my qualities is being stubborn, but I can't take the credit for that. But my mom, that's what my mom has always said. So I'm going to give credit where credit is due and give my mom that credit. But when I was hired back in 2017, almost 9 years ago, but 8 years currently, did I find my path after interning for Representative John Caco. That gave me experience in the policy space, looking at things from a different perspective. I volunteered with NDSS back in 2016, and that year I was named the Self-Advocate of the Year. I felt like that was definitely special and worthwhile, and most certainly carved the path for me to becoming the first registered lobbyist with Down syndrome in the nation.
Thank you. And yes, we do need more registered lobbyists with lived experience. Keep being stubborn, as I as I know that has gotten me many places by not taking no for an answer. It's been exciting to see. It's been exciting to see your work. I'll talk about what you've been doing as a director of public policy.
Sure. So my title has changed from this to that, and a few times from the past few years. But my main role is more focused in federal policy work and grassroots advocacy. My son Genevieve and I, we both manage a volunteer-based program called the Down Syndrome Ambassador Program. So this program is super because it brings together advocates from across the country. Our policy team, which is a great team, we share deep dives on NESS policy priorities, the key issues that impacts the Down syndrome community. And I'll be biased if I said the program is super fun too, because I love this program, and not just because of the camaraderie it brings, but we have guest speakers, and all have gotten to know one another. We even have a private Facebook group too. But outside of the Down Syndrome Ambassador Program, I do have a lot of flexibility with my responsibilities. About once or twice a year, I get hired to keynote or speak in an event around the country. I do have virtual legislative calls with representatives or their staffers on the federal level. I do support the other teams and I NESS wherever I can.
Thank you, and it's exciting to hear about the keynotes and the National Down Syndrome Society, as you are all doing very important work, and it's always great. It's always great to see you and the Down syndrome community at many conferences. Yeah, how do you feel about seeing a Barbie with Down syndrome?
Well, first of all, I love seeing the Barbie with Down syndrome. It was very, very cool. But when I was young, and I played with Barbie dolls myself, and at that age, I never thought a Barbie could ever look like me. But I thought it was definitely a really cool experience. Helping Mattel design the first Barbie doll with the Down syndrome. I was on calls to discuss the prototype. I talked about the characteristics, some of the doll's features. I was flown out to Los Angeles so I could see the interaction of the doll with some young children. I thought that was pretty cool. And I went to the Mattel's headquarters. I did the unveiling of the Barbie doll with Down syndrome on Good Morning America with Katie Pickard, who is the CEO of NDSS, and she's good at it. So I was able to see firsthand what the doll looked like. And it was pretty cool to see a doll that looked like me and my peers. Because I really loved the interaction and the reaction of what the community saw when they first saw the doll to begin with.
Thank you, and yes, I definitely enjoyed the post about Barbie dolls with Down syndrome, as representation is very, very important to have characters that are being seen in more positive ways than just the negativity.
Mm-hmm.
And how cool to be on Good Morning America.
That was amazing.
Thank you. And yes, I always love watching that. And with all of your remarkable work, advice to future registered lobbyists with Down syndrome.
Yes, I do have some advice. Because I always like to say that members of Congress are people just like you and me, Kenneth. That they wear their pants one leg at a time. So just take the time to talk to them and make their meeting a memorable one. Yes, I understand it's okay to be a little nervous, but take your time. The meeting is yours. The stage is yours. And this is to present the issues that currently hold us back. And we are the constituents, so they definitely want to hear our personalized stories.
Thank you. And yes, we are definitely the ones with the experience as people with disabilities. Make the most of your time. There are a lot of great resources on the National Down Syndrome Society, AUCD. Of course, Liz Weintraub also has a lot of great advice on how to set up meetings with your local policy officials. Now let's talk about experiences of meeting with legislative officials.
Sure. So, personally, I really love meeting with the legislative officers, officials. They're the ones that help make the difference, not only in the Down syndrome community, the disabled community, as well as the differently able community. Because we think that they have the power to help us enact a change. When they talk to somebody with Down syndrome, or when there's someone with a disability, well, we're going to make it harder for them to say no to us. Because when the officials have to go to the floor to cast the vote, hopefully they remember, oh, I just met with Kenneth, and they have a disability. So we want to make sure that they are the forefront of their minds. They will help us to prepare the issue or the legislative priority put in place. They can make their own power play.
Thank you. Yeah, that was well said. And our legislative officials in government, they're people too. Some of them also may have a family member with IDD. It was me when I met with one of my first officials, to Congressman Holden, and we were able to have connections since he has a nephew with autism, and both having family members with multiple sclerosis. They are human, and depending upon what party, they still can understand sometimes what it's like to be people with disabilities, and it's always great to stay involved with your Developmental Disabilities Council. Thank you. Now I'd like to say, Kayla, thank you. It's been an honor to have you on my podcast and forward to future meetings. Is there anything else you'd like to say, huh?
I just want to let the audience know that don't give up. Keep pushing. And don't let anyone squash your dreams. Thank you so much, Kenneth. And always good to see you.
Welcome. Thank you. It's always great to see you, Kayla.
This is your host from Exceeding Expectations with Kenneth Kelty. Go above expectations.